4x4 Club Challenge is brought to you by Bridgestone South Africa. Welcome to Lichtenburg in the Northwest Province and round 7 of the 2013 Bridgestone 4x4 Club Challenge. And for this event, many of the out-of-town marshals and competitors camped at the Lichtenburg 4x4 Club's venue, just a rock's throw from the town itself. Some of the usual suspects had made their way from Gauteng for a taste of the always tough Lichtenburg action, while some of the locals took the opportunity to dust off some really cool 4x4 hardware, like this 1965 Land Rover Series 2A, piloted by Jaco and Gerry van Zyl. Scrutineering is an important part of the 4x4 Club Challenge, and it's done before every event. Here the marshals not only check that the vehicle is safe to compete, but also measure wheelbase and ground clearance, and use a formulated point allocation system to level the playing field for everyone. And so, with scrutineering done and dusted, all that was left was a driver's briefing to discuss some safety issues. And for good reason. The Lichtenburg mine dump tracks are notoriously difficult and notoriously dangerous. This is round 7 of the 4x4 Club Challenge. And hey, that's the Wimpinator, otherwise known as Wimpy Olivier. We kick off the action at Obstacle 1 with seasoned competitors Adriaan Oukamp and Gerrit van Wyk in a V8-powered Range Rover. Adriaan and Gerrit inspect the obstacle quite comprehensively. It's a steep climb with a nasty rutted turn at the top, followed by an uncomfortable side slope and another very tight turn. With a plan in the back pocket, they let it rip. Oh dear, the Rangie touches the pole. Now just that steep descent, and down they go.
The first obstacle is always tough once you get the nerves settled. But yeah, it's getting there. Now at least it's done and dusted, so now we can relax and take it.
And here's another Landy. This is a 300 TDI Defender, and it's piloted by Richard Burtis and Walter Fleischak. Richard and Walter talk tactics first. Seems like they definitely have a plan.
Dan sal ek jou wys jy moet so naby as moontlik aan jou gate daar aan die bokant, want ons moet skerp links af.
Okay, cool.
The Defender makes it up the first incline.
Okay, stadig.
But now it has to get through that narrow gate. Richard decides to rather reverse to establish a better angle. But oh crikey, he touches that pole anyway.
Laat hom loop.
Oh dear, so that didn't start so well for the Defender team.
Not too bad. Yeah.
This is Obstacle 2, and here is that wide Landy again. On this obstacle, the first climb isn't so slippery, but the challenge arrives at the top. Here competitors have to decide if they want to take a sharp left turn at a difficult angle through a gate, or they can, like the Defender crew, drive around in a big circle and tackle this gate at a much easier angle. The Landy team does a splendid job here, and also successfully negotiates the gate at the last downhill section. And here's yet another Landy. It's Marius Dreyer and Craig Rocha, with their respective better halves in the back seat of the Disco 3 TD-V6. With a much better turning circle than the Defender, Marius may decide to take that sharp left turn. The Disco ambles up, and yes, he goes left, and he gets through without any penalties. Now just that decline to come. This is Melvin Patton and Jaco Volmer, who are in an Isuzu Frontier, and they have a plan.
Okay, remember now, you're going to turn, go loop, come back, stick to the left, and then come back into the course.
Right, so let's see how the plan works out.
Left, 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 left.
They also decide to rather go the long way round and not tackle that tight turn. They get through this gate okay, then tackle the steep decline. But oh no, with a lot of stops and touching of poles and whatnot, the Isuzu crew bags a total of, well, 0 points.
Kry ons die punte nie. Dis 0. Alles aftrek is 0.
How was that, Melvin?
It's hair racing. It's another monster, this.
Talking about monsters, here's the real monster obstacle of this event. And this is Martin Viljoen and Marcel Ferry, who drive a Mitsubishi Pajero. This obstacle starts with a steep climb through some dongas and over some loose rocks, and then an extremely extreme gradient still on that slippery stuff. So let's see how the Pajero fares here. It gets up the first climb, then momentarily loses traction before Martin gets it going again. And now it's that decline. The camera angle just doesn't do it justice. It really is very, very steep. Riku Vessels also drives a Mitsubishi Pajero, but this is a long wheelbase. Riku inspects that climb, but as you can see, it's rather very steep. Just before they tackle the obstacle, Riku and wife Erika talk tactics and gears.
Like daai is tweede trappie wat hy nou kry.
Nee.
Okay, so they're finally ready to go. Let's see how it pans out. The Pajero makes it up and over the first climb. But then it's time for that steep decline.
Dis
Sure, the Pajero makes it down in one piece. This is turning out to be a tough event. Time for a comfort break. When we return to Lichtenburg, the action gets even tougher on Obstacle 4. And we ride with Riku and Erika on the Blind Driver Challenge. We're back in the Northwest Province and the tough Lichtenburg 4x4 tracks. This is Obstacle 4, and it's a really, really tough one. The competitors have to start the obstacle without a run-up to build up momentum. The actual climb is extremely steep, and the surface is covered with those Lichtenbergian loose rocks. So here, it's not a question of whether you'll be able to complete the obstacle, but rather how far you can get before grinding to a halt, as the Isuzu Frontier of Melvin Patton and Jaco Volmer demonstrate. Here is Riku and Erika Vessels in their Pajero again. Let's see how far they'll get. Yep, about the same spot where the Isuzu Frontier ran out of horses and traction. Okay, so it's clear that you need big horsepower and lots of traction here. And here's Dani Tate and Leon Ferry in a tiny Suzuki SJ Samurai, powered by a 1000cc engine. It certainly doesn't have the horsepower, but it does have some traction. Let's ride with the Suzuki. Oh dear, the little Suzuki runs out of steam and it's not even close to the top.
That's a serious uphill and a lot of stones on that hill.
Flip Kotze and Herman Stein look like they're searching for divine intervention here. If only their little Suzuki Jimny had about 200 kilowatts more power. Well, they are ready. And off the little Jimny goes. And there it stops. In the end, not a single 4x4 made it up this obstacle, although a few came very close. Yep, it's a tough day at the office for the Bridgestone crews.
That's tough, man. This thing is deadly.
Obstacle 5 is a blind driving exercise, as Martin Viljoen and Marcel Ferry in their shorty Mitsubishi Pajero demonstrate. The co-driver has to talk the blindfolded driver through the obstacle, and for the best part of the obstacle. That is while the 4x4 is in reverse. But as you can probably imagine, the real action happens inside the cabins, as co-drivers try to keep their drivers relatively on track. So instead of showing you lifting wheels and dead poles, let's rather ride with Riku and Erika Vessels, with Riku sporting a very stylish set of goggles.
Stadig.
Ja.
Stadig.
Oké, moet ik nog links gaan?
Ja, niet
Ja.
bikkie. Nog.
Ja.
Kijk. Kijk. Ja, daar trap je die paal.
Oké, maak je zo goed dit. Oké, wat nou? Wat maak je nou? Nog terug. Wat nou? Ik stop.
Ja.
Dan zie je stop. Ik moet niet vragen wat ik moet doen.
En nou net aan, bietjie links.
Oké. Oké.
Kijk, bietjie meer links as dit.
Ja.
Nog meer.
Nou sê meer.
Wil jy die ding in een go probeer?
Ja.
Oké, wel, dan moet jy gooi.
Oké, wanneer moet ik haak om links te draaien?
Nou.
Moet ik haak?
Nou!
Hard
Jy
links.
moes toe ek gesê nou dit gedoen.
Ja, maar ik moet jou vragen wat ik moet doen. Moet ik nou pep gee?
Oké, stop.
Ja.
Reverse.
Ja.
Nog.
Ja.
Nog. Rechts.
Ja.
Kijk, nog zo'n druppeltje. En nog draai.
Nog links.
En beweeg maar.
Oké.
Gooi links baie. Mijn baie links. Maak hem recht uit.
Ja.
Kijk.
Stop. Is het daar?
Het gevoel is like 2 weeks in de car. Dus dat was lang geweest. Man.
Right, so let's head to the next obstacle. And it's a bonus point obstacle. This is obstacle 6, and it's a bonus round where the competitors can make up for some lost points on some of the tougher obstacles. And since Lichtenburg is a farming community, the competitors swap their 4x4s for a John Deere tractor, with which they have to negotiate a narrow track between some gates. There's a catch though. The clever Lichtenbergians have rigged the steering system so that when the driver turns the steering wheel right, the wheels turn left, and vice versa. It is, to put it mildly, a little bit confusing. Here is Suzuki SJ man Dani Tate again, and he seems to have sorted out this left-right steering business. It's all terribly exciting though, as Dani stands up behind the steering wheel to see where he's going. In the end, he bags a whole lot of bonus points for a job well done. But let's head back to the 4x4 tests. This is Stephen Grieve and Salim Bamania, who drive a Suzuki Grand Vitara. And Salim has picked up an anomaly.
What's going on with this golf ball here?
Ah, the golf balls. Here the organisers have cleverly placed golf balls directly in the way of the most obvious route through the obstacle. So the teams have to complete this test on a line that is far from ideal. Oh yes, and also avoid the conglomeration of poles. And off goes Stephen and Salim. The Suzuki misses the balls on the ground, but oh dear, it connects one pole on the way out of the obstacle. Overall though, that was a most splendid drive. Stephen has a great philosophy about the lost points.
Bad day off-road beats a great day in the office.
This is Johan Swift, and his co-driver Dieter Skarp is giving the directions from outside the Jeep. This Rubicon has more locking parts than Alcatraz, but these lockers also mean that the Jeep's turning circle is compromised if they aren't switched off in time. Jeep's nose is pushed wide here with a tight turn to make. But Johan has his Chuck Norris face on, and he decides to push on regardless, taking some Lichtenburg fauna with him in the process. He makes it through, but that effort won't do his environmental points any good. So what's the secret of your success then, Johan?
Listen to the navigator. It's absolutely important. He's the eyes outside. So that combined with obviously a nice vehicle, winning recipe.
Talk about listening to your navigator. This is Sean Niemand and Johan van Niekerk in a Jeep Wrangler TJ, sporting a most fashionable pair of bright orange gloves, an orange vest and an orange cap. He looks like those people who show jumbo jets where to park. So are you ready, Sean?
Yeah, boy, yes.
And they're off. All goes dandy until the Jeep kills one pole dead. With the marshal reviving the traumatized pole, the Jeep makes it through okay, with only that one pole as a penalty. Let's take a quick break. On the other side, we return to obstacle 7 for the perfect performance of the day, while the going is still very tough on the rest of the course. We're back at the Lichtenburg 4x4 track in the Northwest Province. This is the Jeep Rubicon of Corné van der Merwe and Philip Oosthuizen. Let's see how far they get before losing some points. Before we continue, a quick flashback to the Isuzu Off-Road Club event at the Mugadle 4x4 trail earlier this year. Corné and Philip got horribly stuck after Corné couldn't see where he was going and beached the Rubicon quite comprehensively. So let's hope they get this one done without getting stuck. Okay, so Corné gets through the first gate okay. And the second one, and blimey, they get through the last one. So Corné and Philip become the first and only team to score 100 points here. Well done, lads.
At the right line, that's what counts, eh?
This is obstacle 8, and like the tractor exercise, it's a bonus obstacle. Here the teams have to think on their feet. They're presented with a Land Rover Defender, a high lift jack, and a rim with a tyre that needs to be de-beaded or taken off the rim. So the team should know that they can use the high lift jack in combination with the landy and the jacking points on its bull bar to do the job. This is Martin Viljoen and Marcel Fourie again, and they certainly know the theory. But alas, they're not quite as proficient in the actual use of the high lift jack, as the marshal explains the intricacies and the nuances of the high lift jack.
So die ding spring baie keer uit. Dit is wat julle elke keer gebol het. Okay. Dis jy 'n lekker jack, dan spring op en uit, dan sak hy weer. Dit is al julle fout gemaak. Sien dit?
On that low note, let's head to the next 4x4 test. This is Wimpy Olivier and Jolanda Markham in a Nissan hardbody. Wimpy is from Lichtenburg, and he is a legend in this part of the world. This obstacle features a short and steep climb, combined with a tight turn and a steep descent. Let's see how Wimpy rolls. Oh no, the hardbody grinds to a halt. It seems Wimpy has forgotten to engage the rear differential lock.
One attempt only.
Wat is dat? My dubbelok nou afgesit.
And this obstacle was overs for him.
Die dubbelok bietjie laat aangesit. Maar die probleme wat gebeur. Oordeels fout. Drivers error.
We follow Wimpy and Jolanda to the second last obstacle of the day, and it's a tough one. Steep and rutted with those loose rocks and a narrow gate at the top. This day ain't getting easier for the teams.
Stadig uit, Polkie.
Yep, he's done it. That obstacle has just been vimpinated. This is the Red Range Rover of Adrian Oukamp and Gerrit van Wyk. After a long day in the saddle, the team now has to scale this obstacle.
Kijk, weer het bouwen.
It was great fun, eh? The V8 Power Land Rover going well, so yeah, it's lekker.
This is the last obstacle of the event, and theoretically, it should be quite easy. Simply drive your 4x4 gently up the steep and slippery slope and try to knock only the yellow ball off its perch, set amongst a flock of white balls. Easy? Well, let's see how Richard Buertus and Walter Fleischak fare in the Defender. Well, okay, so they didn't even get near the balls. Next! It's Marius Dreyer and Craig Roscher in their Discovery. Seems like they have a cunning plan. They reach the balls and drop a few, but alas, the yellow one also goes flying. Next! And it's Melvin Patton and Jaco Vollmer in the Isuzu Frontier. But oh dear, they seem rather intent on taking out all the golf balls in one foul swoop. On that note, it's time to head to the Lichtenburg clubhouse for some news about prizes and for some results. The three podium finishers respectively get a 10,000 Rand gift voucher from Bridgestone, a set of Light Force spotlights from Opposite Lock, and a hand winch, also courtesy of Opposite Lock. An environmental prize to the value of 2,000 Rand goes to the most environmentally friendly team. The overall winner of the challenge will drive off with a Conqueror off-road trailer to the value of 50,000 Rand, while the runners-up will receive a fully adjustable Tough Dog suspension worth 20,000 Rand from Opposite Lock. Right, this is it. Top 3 finishers in the Lichtenburg 4x4 Club's competition. In third place were Johan and Marika Reichel in a Toyota Fortuner. In second place, that Jeep Wrangler Rubicon of Corne van der Merwe and Philip Oosthuizen. Taking the overall win were Johan Swift and Dieter Skarp in their Jeep Wrangler Rubicon. It was a tough day at the office for all the competitors, but the powerful Jeeps certainly seemed to take to the slippery Lichtenburg mine dumps. Next week, we head to Hobby Park on the West Rand, where the Jeep Club of South Africa's members take each other on in their super duper Rubicons and a few Cherokees too. Till then. The 4x4 Club Challenge was brought to you by Bridgestone. Your journey, our passion.